Hey Neil, how's it going? I'll be with you guys shortly. If you could, just let me know how the sound is coming in for you. If the sound is all right, just give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. If anyone could do that for me. Uh, yeah, I appreciate that a lot. I'll be with you guys shortly. Tim Gibson, how you doing? Tim, if you could do me a favor, can you just give me a thumbs up if the sound is coming in okay for you? Thanks, appreciate it. Hey Jake, again, also if you could give me a thumbs up if the sound is coming in okay, I'd appreciate that. So, okay, sound coming in all right for you folks? All right, thanks, James. Appreciate it. So I'll be with you shortly. We're going to be talking about greenbacks for Greenland. It is an interesting topic, so I hope that you folks will find that the same. And again, I'll be with you shortly. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira, part of the outreach team of Silver Bullion here in Singapore, where we want to help you truly secure your wealth. So we may be starting back up these live streams, so we'll see how it goes. I did run a couple tests just to give you folks a little bit of insight. One test was okay, the other test got a bit laggy. So if we get a bit laggy and I have to take the stream down, I do apologize for that. But let's let's all hope for the best. So thank you all for being here. Truly do appreciate it. As always, you can find us on the web, silverbullion.com.sg. Social media, Facebook, you can find us at silverbullionSG. Twitter or X, silverbullionPL. Instagram, silverbullionSG. And if you just want the audio versions on iTunes, you can find us on bit.ly/SBTV iTunes or SBTV Spotify. And Crisis Tracker will be starting that up again. It is a Telegram group where we'll post up some things from time to time uh, as they have relevance to perhaps silver, gold, or other things as well. So again, we do appreciate that. Let me take a quick look at the comments out there. Richard King, how you doing? Alan Satoshi Greenspan, how you doing? Let's see what do you have here. You have a gather gold, stack silver, stash cash, be your own bank, be your own bank. How true that is. Alan, do appreciate that there. Moving on, Jake's Custom Parts, how you doing? So again, I see a bunch of people we already know, so I thank you for being here and for your support. Some things to watch for coming up this week. We have the debt ceiling. This one's pretty interesting because as Yellen, she's going to be leaving soon, I suppose, and she left no money in the piggy bank. So we're going to see what happens on day one because it Monday will be the inauguration and Tuesday the government will be broke. So let's see how this one goes. Pretty interesting here. Way to start off a new term. Of course, we'll have to be watching day 0 to day 100 to see what unfolds here. You know, a lot of people have a lot of various expectations, some good, some not so good, but we'll have to see how these things play out. And of course, Fed interest rates, it's going to be interesting because they also are going to have to make decisions. Are they going to pause? Are they going to continue cutting, or might they have to turn around and look back into raising rates? So I'd be interested to see what they're going to do, and interested to see what you folks have to say as well. Again, taking a look at a few of you guys out there. Miss Carrie Ellen, how you doing? Thank you for your support. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've done a live stream, so let's all hope this goes well. And we will head on into the topic of the day: greenbacks for Greenland. This one is quite interesting because recently we all heard how the art of the deal may be brewing, and it involves greenbacks for Greenland. And at first I thought this was, the typical trolling that we see. And that was until I dug a little bit deeper into it. And what I found out was that, as shocking to some as the greenbacks for Greenland deal might be, as it was for me, this wasn't the first time. This wasn't the first time that something like this has happened. And as we like to say, there's nothing new under the sun. So, as we used to do before, let's all buckle up, get on board the SBTV bus, and let's see what's out there, and hopefully we'll all learn a thing or two that maybe we didn't know before. So, the story of America's fascination with Greenland is marked by intrigue and ambition. From early explorations in the 1800s to the Cold War, the U.S. has long recognized Greenland. I'm already getting into greenback. Greenland's strategic significance, to which America has throughout history had a quest for a foothold in the Arctic for various reasons. So I want to begin with, some of you folks may remember this, Robert Edwin Peary Sr., who was an American explorer and officer in the United States Navy who made several expeditions to the Arctic in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And he was long credited as being the discoverer for the geographic North Pole back in April of 1909. He visited the Arctic for the first time in 1886, making an unsuccessful attempt to cross Greenland by dog sled. Now, in the Peary expedition to Greenland of 1891 to 1892, he was much better prepared second go around. And by reaching Independence Fjord in what is now known as Pearyland, and proved conclusively that Greenland was indeed an island. And he was one of the first Arctic explorers to study Inuit survival techniques. And during an expedition in 1894, he was the first Western explorer to reach the Cape York meteorite and its fragments. Now, the Cape York meteorite is one of the largest known iron meteorites. In addition to many small fragments, at least 8 large fragments with a total mass of 58 tons have been recovered, the largest weighing some 31 tons. So already the U.S. is getting a foothold in the Arctic with the exploration of Greenland and Admiral Peary. And again, this was just the beginning of what we're about to see with Greenland and the Arctic. So again, already from the 1800s, U.S. has literally had its foot in Greenland. And although when things really started to heat up in the Arctic came in 1867 with the purchase of Alaska from Russia. Now, Russia had offered to sell its North American territory to the United States on several occasions, but the outbreak of the American Civil War in 1861 led to the postponement in discussions. Now, in December of 1866, a year after the war's conclusion, Baron Edward de Stockel, Russian minister to the U.S., was instructed by Emperor Alexander II to open negotiations for its sale. Now, the cost of logistical difficulties of supplying the territory had made it an economic liability to the Russians, who were additionally struggling with debt accrued during the disastrous Crimean War, 1853 to 56. Now, though Russian interactions with the native Alouette people have been largely peaceful, Alouette people have been, they were peaceful, but the Tlingit tribes, they were more restive, leading to sporadic episodes of violence and the interruption of provisions. Political forces in Russia increasingly looked instead toward Asian expansion. And in light of the American philosophy of manifest destiny and increased competition from the British Hudson's Bay Company, which leased a southern portion of the territory, viewed the eventual control of the territory by the U.S. as inevitable and perhaps beneficial. And on March 30th, 1867, a treaty ceding Russian North America to the U.S. was signed at about 7.2 million, or roughly 2 cents per acre. What a deal that was. Now here's something well forgotten, or maybe we just did not know during that time. There was a prevailing thought that the decision to purchase Alaska was a step towards the annexation of Canada. Okay, I'll spare you that. I'll spare you that. But we won't go there. But you see, nothing new under the sun. These things have happened before. Greenland was on the radar, but when Alaska came through, having that foothold in the Arctic, the next thought was to go ahead and annex Canada. And we all know that there's this idea of a northern 51st state that is being floated around, or perhaps, it's just a little bit of trolling going on again. So I just want to take a break here and take a look at some of the comments here. Yellen the felon, Alan Greenspan, okay. Carrie Ellen Wilder, that's a good point. Greenland should ask for a payment in gold and silver, not just paper. Let me go ahead and fix this a bit just to square it away just a bit. All right, okay. So yes, maybe Greenland should be asking for some gold and silver. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Okay, so let's see what else is. I'll just continue ahead here. That's a great point, Carol, and I appreciate that. So again, Canada being a 51st state, I don't know. I'll be waiting to see your opinions on that one. So again, there's nothing new here. The U.S. has been looking for that foothold in the Arctic. And getting back to Greenland, besides purchasing it, there was also the idea of making trades to acquire Greenland. And I think you folks are going to love this, because this wasn't well known either. But we're going to see what it's about today. Now, the art of this deal was where the United States would trade Mindanao and Palawan in the Philippines for Greenland and the Danish West Indies. Bet you didn't know this. Denmark could then trade Mindanao and Palawan to Germany for northern Schleswig from Germany after the German defeat in World War I following the 1920 Schleswig plebiscites. So there were even talks of trading parts of the Philippines and West Indies to get Greenland. Now, in time, of course, World War I broke out, and the trade to give the islands in the Philippines and the West Indies for Greenland were shelved. And the U.S. took the position that having the West Indies in order to defend the Panama Canal was more important. All right, so does anyone know if the Panama Canal has been in the news recently? So here we have Greenland. It's been in the news. Canada, the potential of Canada, it's been in the news. And here we have the retaking of the Panama Canal. That's also been in the news. But as we're seeing here, this is nothing new under the sun. These ideas, they were floated. They were floated around before. So years later, another world war broke out, and that underscored the strategic importance of the Arctic and Greenland's value. In 1940, with Denmark occupied at that time by Nazi forces, the U.S. secured Greenland, and as such, the U.S. signed an agreement to establish military bases on Greenland. And I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but the Pituffik Space Base, formerly known as Thule Air Base. Some of you folks who have served might remember that name. Thule Air Base was originally constructed in 1951 during the Cold War, with Denmark, one of the founding members of NATO. It's amazing how these things all circle back and we see them all once again. Now, the role and mission for the base has evolved over time, but there have been no recent public discussions regarding an expansion of the base or the building of additional U.S. military facilities in Greenland. Now, also during World War II, Greenland served as a vital link in the Allied supply chain. American bases also provided crucial meteorological data and airfields for planes patrolling the North Atlantic. Now, this set the stage for a new era of American interest in Greenland, driven by the Cold War. So I'll ask you, isn't this sort of what we are seeing again today? This type of a Cold War where we're having a battle or an interest in acquiring specific types of resources. Now, as World War II ended, the Cold War emerged and Greenland's strategic significance grew. And in 1946, President Truman offered Denmark 100 million greenbacks to purchase Greenland. So here we are again, nothing new under the sun. Truman offered 100 million greenbacks to purchase Greenland. Now, some may say that Truman's offer was aimed to squarely deny the Soviet Union a foothold in the region. Now, others say it was purely an economic move to secure Greenland's abundant resources. And some of us are asking, what resources are these exactly? Well, there's beryllium, chromium, cobalt, which we know is very important with electric vehicle batteries and such. Natural graphite, which is also important in the battery construction. Niobium, tantalum, platinum group of metals, or PGMs. We know these are important, as well as rare earth elements and tungsten. And there is a vast potential for total rare earth elements, or trees as they're calling them, including yttrium. And also Greenland is well known for rubies. So we can see here that when it comes to the resources, there are key vital resources. I think we've all heard in the news how these rare earth elements are being increasingly important, whether they're for military products, whether they're for medicinal products, health products, whether they're even for semiconductors and things like that. So these rare earth elements are extremely important. We are hearing them in the news. It's really a vital resource. So again, another reason why the U.S. is looking to acquire Greenland. But at that time, with offer in hand, Denmark declined, hesitant to relinquish control of its largest territory. And the prospect of selling Greenland to one superpower while facing pressure from the other, which was the Soviet Union at that time, was politically untenable. So the Soviet Union, in time, as we know, it did collapse, and the threat of nuclear confrontation somewhat receded. However, the U.S. did not abandon its interest in Greenland. Now, lastly or firstly, there is still the Monroe Doctrine, and this seems to be one of the key tickets, if you will, as having admission to this notion of acquiring Greenland. Now, as far as ownership or title of Greenland, some believe that the United States' failure to assert its claim to Greenland violated the Monroe Doctrine, and there was a call to purchase the island for mineral wealth and to avoid foreign bases that would, as air and sea technology improved, threaten regional stability. Now, the Monroe Doctrine, in a nutshell, is a foreign policy position of the United States that opposes European colonization in the Western Hemisphere. Now, this was announced by President James Monroe back in 1823. So I'm curious here, what do you think? Does the Monroe Doctrine allow the U.S. to lay claim to Greenland? Does defending a territory for you during a war while you were occupied give you, or I should say me, does that give me claim to it since I defended your land, your territories while you were occupied? So these are some things that you know, they are in question, and these are some things that you know, like I said, they are in question. People have questions for, and geopolitically, uh, we're in time going to find the answers, whether it be an answer we like or an answer we don't like. And this is why it's important to remember that I believe last year, 70% of the world, or at least more than half of the world, had elections. And now, as these people take power or come back into power, we're going to see these fruits unfold. We're going to see what unfolds here. So let me take a quick look at some of the comments here. Ralph Steiner, yes, I could depend on you for this. Uh, that's for sure. Let me see what this comment is. Yeah, yeah, Yankee rules based order. Yeah, definitely can depend on you. Good comment there. What else is out there? Um, let's see. Carrie Ellen, that's a good comment also. America should focus inward and clean house in the 50 states first. Um, and I think a lot of the world feels the same way. I think a lot of the world feels has that exact same sentiment. So let me move down. We're getting close to wrapping this up. I just want to touch base with you folks. But the thing is, the Arctic was once a symbol of international cooperation. It's becoming increasingly militarized, raising concerns about the potential for conflict. We don't want that, right? And the presence of multiple military forces in close proximity increases the risk of misunderstandings and escalations. And I'll end this topic by simply asking you, knowing the idea of acquiring Greenland is it's not new. It's really not new. What is your view on the current strategy of greenbacks for Greenland? All right, so I'll open this up to more comments, a few Q&A, and what's on your mind, right? So we'll open it up here. Let me go ahead and switch around here. Let's see. Let's see. Well, this is a pretty interesting topic. Ralph Steiner. Again, let me clear this out. Sorry about that, guys. Um, Expansionism. Everyone's doing it. Look at CCP in Taiwan. Did CCP ask us if we wanted it? That's a fair statement, and I think that's exactly it, Ralph. Because when we have these types of expansionism going on, especially in this day and age, where weapons weapons are they do a lot more damage than they did back in the day, 1700s or whatnot, 16, 17, 1800s. It's a different ball game now. Without question, it's a different ball game. And yeah, we are seeing expansionism happening here and there. We are seeing uh, renewed geopolitical alignments. We are seeing new geopolitical alignments. So, friends, they may still be friends, or friends may be looking for new friends. And of course, we do have things like de-dollarization, which is going to be heating up in 2025. And again, as I mentioned, new leaders are coming into office. They are going to be looking to implement their new policies, their new ideas. It might include you, it might not. It might not include you. So we'll have to see how all of these things unfold. So that was a great comment there. Let's see. What else is there? George. All right. Yeah. Greenlanders. The last thing they need is a casino and breakfast buffets. I guess that's in reference to what the U.S. typically does. I shouldn't say typically does, but in some historical instances, with reservations and such. We've seen these things happen. So that's a fair comment out there. So I want to get back to one thing real quick. I want to get back to these three questions here, or things to look for. The debt ceiling. I want to know what's your take on the debt ceiling, because as soon as this inauguration is done in day two, uh, government's out of money. So I want to know what you're seeing, what you're expecting, what you think may happen. Are they going to kick the can down the road again a bit more? Are they going to solve it? That's a tough one. And of course, day zero to 100. Those are some things to keep in mind as we go forward here. So again, I'll get back to this one here. Um, Let me just take a quick peek what else is out there for comments. Yes, that was for the native lands, the what we saw happen with the Native Americans. So, again, I just wanted to touch on this idea of greenbacks for Greenland, our northern friends being or the U.S. northern friends being a 51st state, and of course the notion of taking back Panama. These things, they can seem somewhat aggressive, especially for the opening round. But we'll see how these things pan out. I mean, I'm sure that this cannot be a unilateral type of thing. So we'll see what other countries have to say about it. Let's see, Blue Water stacks. They will definitely suspend the debt ceiling. The banks aren't giving up easily. Yeah, and that's the thing, because if they don't do something about it, I mean, of course, we're looking at federal employees who may not be getting a salary. You're looking at the military who may not be getting a salary, and that is not the way you want to go. You definitely need your people who are serving the country to be well equipped, sound mind, sound body. So that is definitely not the way to start off. Uh, Carrie Ellen, Miss Carrie Ellen, what they should do is stop raising the debt ceiling and cut spending to continuously stay under the current ceiling. Long term, pay down the debt. And that's exactly the thing. And I agree. It's just that the situation is either we cut benefits, to which people are definitely not going to be happy, and they may not vote you back in office if you should do that, or you should perhaps raise taxes to help pay for these benefits if people don't want these benefits cut. But as just noted, if you raise taxes, these people who are enjoying these benefits, and really who may be struggling by, and the benefits are keeping them afloat, they may not be voting you back in office as well. So we're we're really in a position where, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. But I do agree that, maybe some benefits should be cut. Maybe some taxes may have to be raised. So I do agree with you there. All right, so let's see what else is out there. Rolf Steiner, can Mexico buy Texas back? Well, there's so many ways to go on that one, my friend. I'm gonna hold my opinion on this one, but I'll let you guys go ahead and speak your mind here. Let's see what else is out here. Just going through some comments, but yeah, okay. Let's see. Um, George Kaiser. Australia should buy Oregon and claim carbon credits. It's that one's kind of funny, but then again, it's also not, because, I think as we move forward, we are going to see these carbon credits come into play, and it's going to affect all of us. So, again, that's another thing where, depending how politicians lay it out and play it out, either they're going to be elected or re-elected. But I think in time, and I've said this before on previous live streams, things are going to change. No matter what, they're going to change. The question is, are they going to change through evolution, which I see as peaceful, or are things going to change through revolution, which may not be as peaceful evolution or revolution, things will change, which goes into the unfolds into the part of all these uncertainties that are coming ahead. You have uncertainties with all these nations and countries and geographic alignments, and without question, this is going to affect economies. Without questions, this is going to affect currencies, the strength of currencies, the trust in currencies. And again, this is one reason why when you look at it, you see central banks, we all know they were buying a bunch of gold. They're loading up on gold. And when you really look at the numbers, you can see that they're holding less in foreign currencies, particularly US dollar. They're starting to hold a bit less in US dollars or currencies, and they're holding more in neutral reserve assets, that being, of course, gold. And when you think about it, well, gold is not tied into any one particular currency. It's not tied into the pound sterling. It's not tied into the US dollar. Although it may be priced in it, it's not tied to it. It's not tied into the US economy. It's not tied into the yuan, the Chinese yuan. It's not tied into anything. So therefore, it is something extremely positive and useful to have this the neutrality of something that stores the value of your wealth, something that stores the value of your currency. A neutral reserve, of course, banks have to have or hold reserves, and asset. This is why gold, in a lot of ways, is called a neutral reserve asset, and it's something you and I should be holding. Reason being, again, with a lot of uncertainty coming up, you really need to start looking at finding ways to protect your wealth, finding ways to store the value of your wealth. And this is going to be key as we move on in 2025 and going forward, because as mentioned a couple times already, over half the world held elections last year, and new people are coming into office. Some of the same people are coming into office as well, but new ideas are going to be floated around, and you're going to see new alignments that are going to be happening. So let's take a look at a few more comments here before we head out. Let's see. Yeah, I let's see. Yeah, getting back to Neil. Yeah, this is part of what we're talking about. Western leaders that just got the boot. I agree. My question stands. I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, you have these, new bunch of leaders that are coming in, and it's my belief places like Singapore that have been able to find that neutrality through all its existence, basically, and as part of its I'll call it a doctrine. It is going to remain neutral, and that's an extremely important thing to understand and know as well. Because if you have assets in the West, and maybe you'd like to move them out of the West, or if you have assets, let's say, in other countries in Southeast Asia, whatever it might be, or Europe, you may want to move them into a neutral country as well. And again, this is one of the benefits that Singapore offers, its jurisdiction, which is actually quite favorable to you. So, it's with these things, why gold, the neutral reserve asset. And for those of you that are considering storing, why Singapore? I urge you to contact me, Patrick at silverbullion.com.sg, or sales at silverbullion.com.sg, and get the answers. Ask the question that you need answered, and get the answers that you're looking for. So let me just see if I can find a few more comments, and then I'll be heading out. I think we are going to try and start with live streams again. We'll see how it goes, but it's good to get it started, especially at the beginning of the new year. And one bit of info, I did run into a metals guy. They do quite a bit of research, and in fact, they put out a lot of research that a lot of organizations follow. And I ran into him, and I said to him, so are we looking at $35 per ounce silver this year? He told me 36. So we'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. Silver has been holding kind of steady at 30, but I still think we got to get out of that 32.50 range and beyond, and then then I think we can be taking a look at other numbers, 34 and 35. But let's hope for the best for silver. I do think gold is also going to have a good run this year as well. So let's hang on for precious metals. Okay. Alan Greenspan, $42 an ounce. We're going to hold you to that, Alan, 42 an ounce. Come end of the year, we're going to take a look and see if we got to that 42. If we do, I'll send you a silver coin myself. I hope it gets there, though. I truly hope it gets there. So, again, I appreciate you all being here. This was a quick one. I just wanted to get the feedback, as far as these things that are unfolding, with Greenland, 51st state, the acquisition or reacquisition of the Panama Canal, the fight for resources as we go forward, the political, geopolitical uncertainties as we go forward, and the importance again of having that store of value, having that store of wealth. Again, things like silver and gold. So, I do appreciate the time that you've given. Hope to do this again soon. If you got any suggestions for interviews, let me know, and we'll see if we can get them. But again, thank you, Alan, Jake, Neil, Dutch Libertarian. How you doing? Good to see you again. Daryl Kinley, Carrie Ellen Wilder. Appreciate you all being here. So let's do this again soon, hopefully.